See, we're live. Hey, everybody, I'm TC. Can everybody hear
This
me
is who I've
now?
been talking to the whole time. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the interaction between these two. They don't
Here's
exactly play nice, and I don't know if I'm just not smart enough.
here's what we're promised. Tonight is not going to be a show of any depth or merit. Well, mostly because that's how all of our shows are. So they lack depth and merit. But we're here.
We
I'm
are here.
TC. That's Skipper Mike Arthur
Yeah,
or
you can
Mike
all see me
Skipper
now.
Arthur. Depends on oh how things go. It's been. Should we do this all over again? It's been a long time.
Yeah, we haven't done anything since October. A lot of big changes for
Together.
both of
Yeah.
us since then. Yep. But we have been each out there doing individual things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I am continuing to raise hell.
Yep. Yep. Uh, which is a good thing. I do appreciate that.
I I'm sure you do. I'm sure.
Oh, I definitely do. There we go. Sylvia she says yay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we were for those that didn't know, we were talking about my rather regular appearances now on Joe Lanu's Friday night show for Night Court for police use of force review videos, and I am the odd man out. Um, I don't fall into either of the appropriate camps. I don't fall into the civilian camp, and I don't fall into the law enforcement camp. I tend to side with the attorneys more, even with my experience, than I do with all of the other law enforcement experienced people. So yeah, so you've been watching those, huh?
Yeah. I've been watching them. I've been enjoying them. As because it's Friday night, so I'm normally doing other stuff as I'm listening in. I don't always watch, but I do listen in. And I do enjoy them. Uh, you've made me laugh out loud a couple times just because some days it's something that everyone's laughing about, and other days I'm just laughing because I'm like, that is straight up TC right there.
Uh, yeah, that's that's my story. Yeah, that's I do that. I don't even do it on purpose. It's just who I am, and so I'm humbled. Hello, Chris Stockham and Eric. Um, I'm I'm humbled that Joe would include me. I'm shocked that he keeps inviting me back. Um, I was gonna do last Friday's show, but we were flooding in our area and we had weather coming through, and so I couldn't guarantee good connections. And the week before I came on, but he had so many people that wanted to take part in the panel that there was just so many of us, and trying to get through everybody. I just stepped out and just observed and took part in the after party.
Yeah.
But he's working on a project called We the People, which is going to be for for several of us as content creators. We're going to be able to either stream or live or stream recorded shows from our own channels to put up to run on We the People. And so I'm looking forward to that. I think it'd be a great thing for Veteran Nation to take part in, especially when
Absolutely.
we get ourselves up and running here. Tonight's probably going to be a shorter conversation for us, folks, because we had some connection issues, and as many of you know, Skipper was just talking to himself, which is what Marines do anyway. And
I do
so
do that.
um, so once now that we've got it figured out, we're not going to burn everybody's evening. Um, I skipped a full dinner tonight after my run so I could get in here on time, and it didn't work well. So at some point I'm going to start gnawing on my pop guard here.
Are you able to hear the soundboard?
I don't know what you. No, I can't. I cannot hear your
Oh,
soundboard.
okay. I that was one thing I did implement that I don't know. I don't know how we can do this the soundboard. I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out.
Eric Miller has aptly described you as a Marine just now.
Oh, I definitely am. I'm sitting here. I'm like trying to fix this. I'm like,
Well, no, he put the three red crayons up. So I mean that's
that's the universal.
So what are so Skipper? What are our plans? What are we going to do? So we're not going to be live every Tuesday night. We're going to be doing this every other Tuesday.
Yep.
I would imagine we're going to be doing all the same stuff that we had been doing prior to going over to Red American Media, and and since I don't know how to describe it, but other than to say Juan's taking a break, and so we're back to doing this on our own. I'd imagine we're going to continue to do much of the same thing that we did before, going forward, doing commentary on social and political issues as they impact the military and veterans. But I think we're probably going to be having some very in-depth conversations about some fundamental sea changes that are happening. You know, things with Congress implementing an automatic draft registration.
Yep.
Selective service. We're going to be talking about things like that, and everybody knows, you know, who's been paying attention to us for a while knows where I stand on that. I think the draft is evil, and evil. Yeah, this is where we need Juan because he can just bring stuff in. So we're going to be talking about a lot of those issues, but we're also going to be talking about the foundation and plans with that going forward. I know that you just had a Veteran Nation Foundation comedy show here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we didn't headline it. That was done by You Matter Not Alone and the Battle Buddies. Great organizations. I wanted to help with the planning because even as a logistics officer, I did lots of. Conspiracy Kitty wants to say hello to all the people who missed us on the show. But I wanted to really see from a 501c3 aspect how a lot of these things are put together and how they go. So I was there helping. I was there with the planning throughout almost all the stages. I had never done a comedy event before, so it was pretty interesting. And now I've been through that. I've seen it. I've been behind the scenes. The hard part was running around doing the live streams. That was actually the hardest part of the whole event. And it was because it was like I went from one to another, you know, and I was trying to fit in everybody for interviews.
You know, it's what's funny about live streaming when you get asked to, you know, show up to an event and stream it or whatever. The tough part, and this is all, you know, shop talk for people who just tune in to hear how eloquent we are. The tough part about streaming. So if you go back to the Defend the Guard event that I was the MC of here in Minnesota back in March, the tough part's making sure that you have things set up in a way where you're capturing the totality of the event with as few interruptions as possible. And sometimes everybody, I shouldn't say this. I think a lot of people have a perception that it just, you know, you just show up, set up your phone, and you walk away. And there's some truth to that, but there's so much more to it. You know, you have to know your room, you have to know your audio, you have to know how to respond if something isn't going off the way that it should. And tonight's a great example. Like, we're not even streaming an event; we're just doing a show, and we had these hangups that I know you've been working on for several weeks, trying to
Mhm.
get it all figured out. And when it comes time to put our money where our mouth is, problems arise. And here we are, at first not being
Yeah.
able to start, and then when we do start, people still can't hear anything from me, which might have made the show better. But there is so much that goes on, and you don't realize any of that until you are the one who's doing the behind the scenes and the in front of the camera work all at the same time.
Yeah.
You're the producer, you're the showrunner, you're the scheduler, you're the craft services and all, and all of that, and it's just not easy. And
And the hard part really is, it's the summer, so it's nice and hot in here, which means my computer's not going to run as great, even though I've got a gaming computer that's incredibly fast, and it takes up so much CPU space that that's why, like I'll be doing stuff and suddenly it'll freeze.
you have a gaming computer
I do. Yeah,
for
this
Tetris?
computer. I don't use it for gaming, but my whole thing on building it this way was because I knew I was going to be live streaming, and if it can take gaming, it can definitely take live streaming.
Interesting. I'm just trying to picture you playing Tetris live on Twitch.
Actually, I've been wanting to, because I do play some video games, like I'll play Fall Guys, which is a really cute game.
Did you
And
just say it's a
then
really cute game?
it is. You play as like a little penguin, and you have to run through an obstacle course, and like it's.
We just
I'm
lost all
trying
our audience. I'm so glad I cannot. I'm so glad that I cannot see the viewer count right now, because I just don't want to watch it dwindle. Like,
when I figure this out and I do it, I'll give you a stream code so that you can come right in and just roast me as I'm playing.
oh,
But yeah, it's a fun game. The other game that I was talking about, I haven't played it in years. But they have a computer game version. Is Axis and Allies. It's a World War II game, kind of like Risk.
I like Risk.
If you like Risk, you'll like Axis and Allies.
Yeah, I like Risk. I play it on my phone, and I'll do the live gaming part of it where you're actually playing against people and not the computer. And I found that the computer most of the time is smarter than the people I play against.
That's I'm actually part of some veteran gaming groups because I was really gaming there for a while at the old place, and I just kind of got away from it a little bit. But it is one of those things. It's a good way to just let your hair down.
For the love of God, no, never, ever again, ever. I miss here. I'm gonna shoot any cool creds we might have had. I actually miss role playing tabletop games with, like Dungeons and Dragons with fellow military guys. We spent hours. Like, people do not understand. Like, you will look for anything for entertainment. And you can only spend so much time on your phone these days. And I've been talking to people, and I found out that Dungeons and Dragons is making a huge resurgence in the military community. Huge.
Oh yeah,
like people you wouldn't expect. Like the guy that's at the gym every day, and he hasn't picked up a book since 6th grade. He's all of a sudden he's like, and I'm going to be the DM now, and I'm like,
it's funny because there's a tabletop game place right here in my city, and it's all military guys in there. And the big game they play is Warhammer.
yeah, see,
40K.
I see. Like, Warhammer does not belong in the same camp as Dungeons and Dragons. It just does not. Hello, Chris. Let me introduce myself. I'm TC, and I am the host and founder of the Minnesota Black Robe Regiment podcast, which is how I accidentally stumbled across Skipper, or Skipper accidentally stumbled across. I don't even know how the hell I don't even remember how we connected. I mean,
You found me first.
I know, but I can't remember how we did that.
I
Because I reached out to you and asked you to come on the show.
Yeah, that's how it was. I think it was actually on Facebook. I think I might have posted one of the episodes, and you said, "Hey, come on my show," and I came on your show, and then I
Yeah.
I said you need to come on Better Nation, and I don't think we had you on, but
You
after
just
a
went
look,
straight to asking me to co-host. I remember that.
yeah, and because at that point I was doing the show all by myself without a clue, and also without all these people's comments. I wasn't even getting that. It was just me talking to the camera. So it
And
really
it's funny
sucked.
because we've been doing this for going on 3 years.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
had you on about a year into my show, and you had been doing your show for several months at that point. And it's funny how in that time since I've started my show, my own channel, I'm shocked at just how much the technology has changed because everybody was using Zoom or Facebook Live. Like my
yeah,
very
yeah.
first interview that I put up on my YouTube channel was, oh gosh, was with a Minnesota gal because I was interviewing Minnesota business owners who were being affected by the COVID shutdowns.
Yep.
And my very first one that I actually ever posted was with a gal from Minnesota who had like a boutique, and she was struggling to keep her business going after she had just opened it. And I recorded it on Facebook, then downloaded it from Facebook, and then re-uploaded it to my YouTube channel. So, yeah.
And over the course of doing this,
We've done 100 or so shows by now. People.
Oh, absolutely. And people, you got to understand the as we've stuck our necks out with these shows. TC had his job put in jeopardy. He was being
Not just
harassed.
put in jeopardy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lost my career. like I appreciate your tact and how you said it, but yeah, since Skipper and I met, I lost a career that I'd been in for 13 years for my show. So, and I know that you've run into a lot of your own snakes.
I've gotten attacked twice since doing the show.
Yeah. I was going to make a smart ass comment about, but that's just because no one likes you.
And one time I was live streaming. That's why I was attacked. The other time is the video that everyone will see. I'm just waiting for court.
Yeah, that still hasn't resolved itself, has it?
Nope, they keep kicking the can with that one. Yeah, they.
So how was the? Did they ever resolve the cafe one?
Yeah, they just said they weren't going to charge him.
Well, at least you didn't get charged for that.
For those who are watching on YouTube, you can go into the Better Nation. We've got a service dog harassment playlist, and you can see I've got both the short version and the full uncut version of that. But it for an hour and a half long thing, everything only happens really in the last 5 minutes. I was actually just patiently waiting for the sheriff to show up, just to get my trespass notice. And once I had that, I was like, okay, once I get that, I'm going to go and get a California civil rights complaint and make my civil rights complaint. And yeah, they just decided, hey, we're gonna attack this guy and his dog.
And then you had the other one, which of course we can't go into too much detail because you are waiting on that one.
They do know who attacked me, Hal Sellers, G8 of McKagsey 29 Palms. But yeah, the video is coming.
It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know how you ended up walking away. Well, other than it's California, so
yeah, they drug their feet like it was as you saw. Do you think I was defending myself.
Do I think you were?
Yes.
I don't think you had a choice in that situation. If you hadn't defended yourself, he would have beat the crap out of you.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And the DA drug his feet for 2 months deciding if they were going to charge me or him. And in the end, he said he wasn't going to charge me because it was clearly self-defense. And I said, and about them? And he goes, well, you beat the guy up. I'm like, well, that doesn't, like, I was still attacked. So, you know, we are looking to handle some of this stuff in the local election arena, I'll say.
Yeah, that, and that's so. The reason why Skipper and I talk about stuff like this, for those that don't know, is that's the entire premise of what I do is government. Oh boy, everybody! I even hate saying that term government because most people do not have a firm grasp on what government is. But the state, the state accountability, whether it be your city state, your county state, your state, or the federal state. I just think we should be holding these people accountable. And it really starts with the justice system. And it really, boy, I'm going to lose people here. Chris said he's already subscribed to my channel. I have to go and see what my count is and see if I lose him here after I say this. So hold on. Nope, there's his subscription. So get ready to unsubscribe. And thank you for the subscription, anybody who's watching. The problem that I have and what has caused me the most angst in my career as a commentator or independent media / reporter / journalist, whatever you want to say, is that I believe the strongest threat to liberties in the United States right now comes from the law enforcement community. And nobody wants to talk about it. And they just don't. You just...
Should we watch the video? I know you've seen it. I've seen it, but video? Not on mine. Carolyn in Fort Worth.
Well, yeah, I think it's worth watching. I think we could fast forward and I could give into details. I could fill in the details leading up to it. We don't need to watch the whole thing. Skipper, move it forward to the part where she's following. And when I say following, I don't mean in a stalking way, but where she's following the two female officers and trying to get their attention. Yeah, Gravy, I know it's only 7 minutes long, but there's just a lot of kind of just her talking. But
let's see. I'm looking here for that.
The what you're going to see in the last couple of minutes of this video is a woman who is literally exercising. For those of you that are vets or liberty-minded or constitutionally minded folks, what you're going to see is a woman who's been doing what she does for a very long time, relatively speaking, compared to a lot of people. She's in her 50s. She's a very dainty, very small gal. She's no threat. She's just asking questions. She's trying to figure out why they appear to be towing vehicles from a parking lot. And I now have more backstory because she put a video out today explaining it. But this officer does something to her that every single person, Republican or Democrat, conservative or leftist or moderate, should be absolutely outraged by. But you'd be surprised. You would be absolutely surprised at the number of people who I have run into who are commenting on social media and through YouTube and places like that she got what she deserved.
And after we watch this, I do want to go through. I am doing a form letter that I will put out there for everyone. If you see what we see and you're concerned, you'll be able to take what I'm doing and piggyback off it if you care to.
And that's why my channel exists.
Yeah.
The focus of my channel is state accountability, starting with law enforcement accountability and massive reform. And it's things like we're about to see here if you haven't seen this yet. So go ahead, Skipper, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, they're gonna ignore me too. Help! Rape! Fire! 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 Fire!
And what you're seeing here is she's saying that because
That's great
there's two
community
female
relations,
cops
too.
are just absolutely ignoring her when she's asking them legitimate questions. Could you imagine? Just pause it. We're not going to get very far. That's why
How
we
do you
can't do the whole 7 minutes. Could you
Yeah.
imagine if a cop was asking you questions?
And you
If a
just
cop
ignore
was
them?
asking you questions and you just kept walking away, which is your right to do in a consensual
Yeah.
interaction with cops, until a cop can present you with evidence, until law enforcement can present you not with evidence, but with a justifiable, reasonable, articulable suspicion as to why you're being stopped and questioned and lawfully detained, which many courts are now saying a lawful detainment is equal to an arrest. Even in a situation like that, if they don't have a lawful reason to detain you, you will end up in handcuffs and on the ground if you walk away from cops the way these cops are walking away from her.
Yeah. Yep.
You can argue with me about this all day long, but these two pigtailed cops they're choosing to ignore her like she's unimportant trash.
And with what happens, I think these two should be suspended as well as anyone else who assisted in the arrest.
I said it in my commentary video, and I'll even throw it out there. One thing that I'm talking about in my commentary video that you have not heard anybody else talk about is something that's called the Graham standards or the Graham factors. And if you go over to my channel, it's at the top of my playlists there for people to see. Mm-hmm. The Graham factors in this situation, nothing that is about to happen to Carolina at all falls anywhere within the realm of what the Graham factors allow.
Yeah.
But it all starts with these two female cops ignoring her like she's trash.
Yep. I'll go ahead and play it.
Know if they paid or not, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, Kruger. No, I'm not going to before. There's no investigation. There's no nothing.
So what you guys can't hear.
What are you talking about?
What you guys can't hear is this Kruger. Notice how quickly she knew his name.
Who, Officer Kruger, has been fired from a police department before for excessive force.
For excessive force.
Yeah.
She knew his name. What I found out today from the video that Carolina put out is that she had recently had a very long conversation with him about an episode where he pulled a gun on somebody for jaywalking.
Yep.
And made his body and made that individual's personal, privately owned body camera disappear. No one's ever been able to find it. So what you're about to see, I don't care what anybody says.
Fort Worth, Chris. Yeah. This was in Fort Worth, Texas.
What
3 days ago.
Is
2 days ago.
Retaliation. And he does not. He tells her she needs to go across the street or she'll be arrested. He doesn't give her any cause. He doesn't give her any. Any.
This is not a crime scene. This is not a crime scene. They're towing cars. That's all they're doing. So,
go ahead.
Did you freeze? Oh, okay. I was just making sure. Do you want me to play it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Why? Right, wait, tell me why first.
We're doing an
You're under arrest. You're not.
No, I'm not under it. Okay, you go.
Stop resisting.
Okay, so did you guys hear that? Skipper, go back just a couple of seconds. You will hear her as soon as everything goes off camera, so to speak. You're going to hear this very loud intake of air. You're going to hear, and other people commenting, oh, listen to that. She's snoring. No, she's not snoring. That's agonal breathing. And contrary to popular belief, agonal breathing is not an indicator of imminent death. It can be an indicator of imminent death.
Yeah.
But it is not always an indicator of imminent death. And so what you hear in that moment is as soon as he grabs her and tells her to stop resisting, he has already at this point thrown her to the ground face first.
Yeah.
And when you see the pictures, you could tell he buried her face in the asphalt and knocked her unconscious absolutely in a split second.
Arresting her for nothing.
Nothing.
She's there wouldn't go across the street, but it wasn't a crime scene. So, and even if it was a crime scene, she wasn't interfering. They could have put up tape. They didn't do any of that. So this is a cop with a history of excessive force, conducting excessive force. And here's what you're going to hear: those two female officers assisting him. So
Right.
when, I know people are like, not all cops are bad cops. No, but we need to start holding them accountable. We need them to be transparent first and then be accountable. And a good cop should be stopping a bad cop.
Oh, well, yeah. What I said in my commentary video is that they should have immediately drawn down on him because he had just used deadly force on a person.
Yeah. Yep.
He just used deadly force. That to me justifies the presentation of lethal force against him, and he should have been taken into custody. And Let's Go says her airway is blocked by her tongue. She is unconscious. I would tell you that this does not sound like a blocked airway to me. This sounds like agonal breathing. This is indicative of a severe traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
And I have experienced people going into agonal breathing on numerous occasions in these moments. And that's what you're going to hear. And he continues to yell at her to stop resisting when she's clearly incapable of resisting.
She's unconscious. Yeah.
The only reason I'm telling you guys this is so you can listen, because the audio is not the greatest in this situation.
So I'll play it again so then they can hear.
No, I'm not under it. Okay, you go.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
She's bleeding.
And right there he says, I need a supervisor and an ambulance. After one of the female officers says she's bleeding. Her face is beyond black and blue. Worse, not worse. On top of it is the fact that she's also has, at the very least, a dislocated shoulder, something else going on with her, with that same arm. And if you go, and I would encourage people to go and see Carolina's video that she put out today, where she shows the conversation she had with this Officer Kruger, this dirtball, the sleazebag, not that long ago, where it's actually a very pleasant conversation, and you could tell she recognizes him.
Yeah.
And so she says, "Hey, Kruger." She wasn't expecting problems because she had just had a conversation with this guy not that long ago. Granted, it wasn't, hey, friendly, let's get together and have a beer conversation, but she kind of took the steps to de-escalate and have an actual conversation with this guy. And he came out and he recognized her, and he knew in his head as soon as he saw her what he was going to do. His goal was he was going to get her across that street, or he was going to get her into handcuffs. That's it.
Yeah.
That was all he had in mind.
No de-escalation. He actually barely even asked. He asked her one time, you need to go across the street. She says no. And then he immediately, you're under arrest. And that's not at all how any of that works. I do want to show this. This is what, okay, I understand not everybody, and I will say, we got 30 people watching. Please like, share, subscribe, get this out there so that people can see this.
And head over to my channel too.
Yeah, and just FYI, TC, with this, with the link, you can actually restream this on your channel if you choose to.
Yeah,
so,
if it works.
Unless if you don't want your fans to know that you're associated with Veteran Nation, I wouldn't blame you.
I tell people all the time, the problem is nothing worked tonight the way it was supposed to.
True, and we'll figure this out. But I understand, me and TC, we're willing to stick our neck out. We're willing to do these videos. We're willing to push this stuff. Like I said, I've been attacked. He's been fired. So, well, actually, you weren't fired, but your job was put in jeopardy, and you were summarily pushed out.
I was escorted. Well, I could never go back to the career field again. Not after everything that I've experienced. Angry Vet is here, and I just want to, with everybody, I want everybody to give the Angry Vet a what's up. Okay, so I had a very long conversation with the Angry Vet today. So he said he's bringing what's up back, and I told him he can't because that's embarrassing. So,
but I understand not everybody can do a video. You can share this. You can make people aware. But here's, as you guys know, here's what I've been doing. Obviously, there's a lot to these stories, and letting your elected leadership know that you're unhappy is actually very big. And I will say, Carolina in Fort Worth, she has retained C.J. Grisham, who's a great lawyer in Texas. You may have seen him. He's the one suing Temple, Texas, where the one gentleman was thrown out of the city council meeting, and C.J. Grisham walked right up afterwards.
Pass, by the way.
Say that again?
Aransas Pass.
Yes. So he has been retained, and he's already said he wants people to write letters. I was already going to write one before he said that, but here's what I'm writing. I will put it and make it available. So if you guys want to cut and paste, feel free. To those who receive this, greetings. I am writing about the unlawful assault on Carolyn Rodriguez in your city by Officer Matthew Kruger. As you may be aware, Ms. Rodriguez was live streaming Fort Worth PD towing vehicles. She attempted to ask questions of the officers and was quickly assaulted, knocked unconscious, and arrested by Officer Kruger. This is a clear violation of Ms. Rodriguez's civil rights, specifically her First Amendment rights of freedom of the press, redress of grievances, and to peacefully assemble. Officer Kruger showed no attempt to de-escalate and clearly just had a problem with being videotaped and being asked questions. On the Fort Worth Police Department webpage under Community Engagement, it states, "It is important that we keep our community informed of our plans and share what we are doing to combat violent crimes in our city. Since the implementation of hashtag Fort Worth Safe," which, by the way, retweet out this video with hashtag Fort Worth Safe. Let's build that up. Our officers have been out in the community passing out cards and informing our business owner and citizens about our efforts. In this case, officers refused to answer or engage with Ms. Rodriguez, share what they were doing. No cards were passed out. She was first ignored, then given unlawful demands. As I write this, 2 days after the incident, Ms. Rodriguez still has charges pending. Those charges are not only undeserved, but it's clear overcharging. Officer Kruger, at the time of this letter, is under suspension pending investigation. It has been.
Oh, did they really? They did actually put him under suspension.
The report that I saw said he is currently under suspension as this matter is being investigated. So that they did not name him, but they said the officer involved.
Good. So why aren't the two female officers also under suspension unless they turn state's evidence on him?
Absolutely, that's a good question. It has been brought to public knowledge that Officer Kruger was fired from another the Texas Police Department for excessive force. He was then hired by the Fort Worth Police. The video shows he's clearly attempting, or he's clearly an aggressive person with not the temperament nor patience to do this job. At no point did he attempt to de-escalate. I have no doubt Officer Kruger will be fired by your city after your city settles for millions in money you will take from taxpayers because the police department failed to hire officers, or the police department feels apt to hire officers with a history of violence. What I find equally egregious was one of the other is that other officers did not stop Officer Kruger and even assisted his unlawful arrest. I believe they equally are responsible for failure to de-escalate and then assisting Officer Kruger. My channel, Veteran Nation, fights against corruption just as I fought for this nation's rights. We do not live in a police state. The problem with Officer Kruger is he and his fellow officers have faced little accountability. That is because there is little transparency. If Ms. Rodriguez had not been live streaming, many of us would not know what really happened, at least for quite some time. For that, myself and the fans of Veteran Nation call for the following actions to occur. 1, the FBI launch an immediate investigation in the Fort Worth Police Department and any accusations of excessive force or civil rights violations be fully investigated. 2, the Fort Worth Police Department review all officers with a documented history of excessive force and remove them from patrol duties. 3, Fort Worth PD immediately make public Officer Kruger's personnel file so that any members of the public who've been victimized by him may feel compelled to come forward. 4, suspend all officers who witnessed or assisted in the arrest/assault of Ms. Rodriguez. 5, charge Officer Kruger with aggravated assault and let a jury of his peers decide on his actions. 6, institute citywide training to all public employees of Fort Worth regarding interacting with the public and respecting the right to record public employees in the course of their duties. These steps are necessary to bring back the faith the civilians have in your government and police department. And these are the people I'm going to be sending it to. So, as I said, I will be putting this likely into a Google Drive, and then I will be pushing it out publicly. And I see someone's asking, TC on X is at Rogue Regiment.
Yep. And in the proper terminology, it is not X, it's Twix. Just so everybody knows. It's Twix. Twitter,
Give me a break.
X. Yeah. It's Twitter and X, they're Twix. So, and I really appreciate Eric Miller. He labeled me wrong guest. I am not a guest. I am a co-host. Damn it! Just because I haven't been on for a while. But and that's been the kind of from the get. That's been my. If you go back and look even at my earliest videos, it's always been about accountability. HawkFan is here. I love HawkFan. HawkFan's a subscriber to my channel, and he may even be one of my guest members as well. But and thanks for Angry Vet for tuning in.
And everyone, please like, share, subscribe, and
Eric,
comment.
you say you want to know if I'm left side or right side of the Twix. I am the paleo libertarian, paleo conservative side of the Twix. Eric co-host more often. I agree, but it's not been easy. So, as you can see, tonight was not the great start to us coming back. Gravy. Sergeant Gravy wants to know, does anybody know who to focus my energy on to encourage the VA to recruit more VA-approved facilities, and any ideas? Recruiting for VA-approved facilities can be quite the staggering, Don Quixote-esque.
It really depends on what type of facilities are you looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know you've had your own experiences, like with eyeglasses. They don't have any community care for eyeglasses, which should be the easiest damn thing in the world to get to. Would be like community care for eyeglasses of all things should be the easiest. It's like it's the only insurance I carry are like dental and eyeglasses because it's just so easy to get that stuff. But yeah, right. No, exactly. But
I use them for reading, folks.
When you look at what's going on, the best thing is to push more for community care. If you can do that in your area, because not every area has community care. Alaska has no VA clinic. Well, no, they have one VA clinic, or is it?
I don't know exactly. I would imagine there's at least one.
It's either one or none. But when you look at Alaska, you want to talk about community care would be like the perfect solution for Alaska. But I don't know that they have anything even community care available. And so when you ask about whether or not something is approved, the question isn't whether or not it's approved. The question is can you just get them to acknowledge community care? Because when you live in a state like Alaska, or you live in a state like Minnesota, or you live in a state like Montana, or even, well, California is different because it's so densely populated for the most part. Or you live in Texas is even not quite the same. Community care would be so much better than going to something that's VA approved, because most of the time VA approval is you just end up with another VA clinic in your area. And that's not what we want. Our goal really in all of the VA stuff, when we talk about VA issues, VA related issues, is the end of the VA as we know it. That's really like, and not people with benefits.
Here's one thing I have found, Gravy. It's hard if you have to be there physically. If you're talking therapists, um, I can actually put you in contact with people who are approved VA therapists who will happily work with you via not VA telehealth, but kind of the same way. You'll call or FaceTime, and for that you can get your therapy appointments that way. For physical therapy, the limitation really does kind of fall on who's nearby. I would absolutely just reach out to the places that are closest to you and be like, hey, have you ever considered being a VA community care so that I can, partake in your services? That's really the only way.
Yeah.
The other thing
and that's not an approval process in the sense of, it's just literally them saying, hey, we'd like to be part of the care system. There's not that much more to it. They don't have to go through. I mean, obviously they have to make sure that doctors are licensed physicians and things like that. But my understanding with community care facilities is they don't have to go through a special set of approval in the sense of they don't have to jump through a particular set of hoops. When you look at it, a lot of times to get approval for a lot of state operated things, most of the time, the non-state owned situations that arise, you actually have to do more than what the state has to do for their facilities.
Yeah.
And that's not the case with community care. The community care is actually just, hey, we'd like to be a community care facility for people in the area who don't have easy access to VA clinics.
And one thing I will say is for those who are not approved, a lot of times they just don't even know if there's veterans nearby. So if you go to them and say, hey, have you considered becoming a VA community care? They might say, oh, yeah, we'll start looking into that because they just don't know that there's people there that want their services from the VA, through VA community care.
Yeah, Chris, you can find me on Twix at Robe, ROBE Regiment, REGIMENT, at Robe Regiment, or you could just pretend that you never heard of me, which is normally safer. So, yeah, I Skipper and I we've spent so long since we've done this, we could probably go on for a very long time, and I don't think we should because we were not prepared for the slow start. But I think tonight gives everybody a really good taste for how Skipper and I interact. Skipper and I are good friends. People, Skipper
secretly hates me.
Huh?
I said he secretly hates me.
Yes, I secretly. No, it's not a secret.
I miss this. I really do miss this.
We don't always see eye to eye, and one of these days we're going to have a really, really heated debate on Israel. But what I think Skipper and I demonstrate is that you don't have to be lockstep with somebody to respect them and care for them or love them as a friend or as a brother in service. You just don't. You don't have to be lockstep with them. And I think that's a thing that's really missing in our society and our culture today is that we've automatically reject out of hand anybody who does not agree with us 100%. If you do not agree with me 100%, then you are my enemy. And it's not safe. It's literally not safe. It's just not a safe mentality. And when I say safe, I'm not talking like snowflake safe. I'm talking like it's just not safe for you on an intellectual level to treat people that way. And
I actually look forward to the day when you and I have a major disagreement, and because it's going to be for great show. Like people are going to be like, "Oh, here we go, grabbing popcorn."
All right, so here we go, folks. 2 weeks from now, Skipper and I are going to debate Israel. Skipper will get his ass handed to him, but that's okay. But the problem that we have in our society is that we expect everybody to agree with us in 100%, and if we don't, we just reject them, and that's not the way it is. Now, there's room for disagreement, and there's room for a person to set their own boundaries and say, it's just not safe for me to have this boundary wise. It's not okay for me to continue to have this conversation with you because it's impacting our relationship, and I think that's an okay thing to happen. It really is an okay thing to happen. But to reject out of hand every single time a person disagrees with you, to reject that person as an ally in a fight, or as a brother in arms, is just stupid. And I'll point to, in Skipper, if you want to, you can, in the description of the video, put the link up to the Defend the Guard rally from March here in Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah.
We had a situation where at the Defend the Guard rally in Minnesota, the organizers, we had invited the Democrats, the Republicans, other libertarians, people from progressive parties, leftist leaning parties, and one Republican took the time to show up, and then a couple of progressives took the time to show up, and everybody else that was there speaking was a libertarian. And then there was a Republican attorney who's far more libertarian leaning than he is purely Republican. But not a single member of the DFL showed up. But we still stood shoulder to shoulder with these other speakers at this event who we probably ideologically just don't see the same issues as being valid or as important.
Mm-hmm.
But when you find a area where you agree, as long as the person that you're in agreement with is not like flat out evil, like just evil on like everything else, you can side with them and stand with them in the fight and be friends with them without supporting every single position that they have. And I think I can speak for Skipper safely on this. That's what Skipper and I embody, is that we don't always see everything eye to eye, and have never gotten to the point where we can't talk anymore.
Yeah. Not yet. I'm joking. I don't think
you're fired. I haven't fired you for a very long time.
I don't, and I look at any veteran's opinion as, well, they definitely have earned that right to their opinion, even when I don't disagree with them. And that's where I get a lot of hate from people online, sometimes justifiably, not always. But I do laugh at the people, the biggest ones that are quick to call me a fake veteran are normally progressives. I do notice that.
Well, I think that part of that is that because most prog left people just don't have the intellect to engage in a reasonable conversation.
And I've had people on the right say that same thing, but with them, they're not trying to, they're trying to get to me. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to bother me whenever they say it. But when a progressive says it, they're trying to label me so that other people will pile on. I do notice that.
Well, I think I could see the distinction. But I think when a more conservative type says it, I think it's also coming from a place of misinformation as well, because they have such a perspective of, to be a veteran, there are certain things you have to adhere to, you have to believe in, and if you don't hold these views, then how can you even call yourself a veteran? Like, you served in the military. How can you? I'm just going to throw it out there. How can you not back every single military action the United States takes? You must hate all your fellow veterans. Therefore, i.e., fake veteran. Well, no. I'll stand toe to toe with anybody. Like, literally in a ring, look you in the eye and tell you, I hate war. I hate interventionism. And the reason why I hate war and I hate interventionism is because I love the service members that are out there today. And I don't want another one of them to go. And you've heard this 1,000 times. Like, listen, the fire is back. I don't want to see another American boy or girl put into harm's way for another freaking country. Ever. I don't care if it's Israel. I don't care if it's Ukraine. I don't care if it's Poland or England. I do not want another American service member or another American dollar going to any other country at all, period. You want to fight your war, fight your war. I'm not going to stand in the way of it, but you don't get my money and you don't get my kids, God damn it. You don't get my kids to fight your freaking war. That's how much I love our military.
Didn't you almost name your show War What Is It Good For?
Yes, twice. Good God, no.
I had to throw the Seinfeld references in there.
Oh. And that's why, this show is so important. And I know it's funny for me to say, the show is really important, even though we've been absent together from it for a while. The show has been I still talk about this show to every single person. Every time I talk to somebody about Defend the Guard, every time I talk to somebody about Bring Our Troops Home, I say, hey, I don't go, I host my own show on YouTube. This is my show. I say, hey, I'm a veteran and I co-host a show on YouTube and other places called Vet Nation. And we talk about issues that are really important to vets and active duty military. And because of that, I would really love for you to tune in, and I'd love for you to check out this information. Check out Defend the Guard. Check out Bring Our Troops Home. Eric says, some of your Friday night opinions, TC, make me wonder about you. Ha, ha, ha. Not really. You're pretty spot on most of the time. You may want to see a doctor, Eric, for one of those. If you think I'm spot on most of the time, you definitely need help. But and Eric says, did you serve in the military or just public service? Both, sir. I was
82nd Airborne veteran.
And that's why the show is so important to me, is because I love our military, and I'm tired of seeing us, send people anywhere. I'm tired of seeing our money being sent overseas for anybody. We shouldn't be doing it, period. Like, I don't care who it is. My money needs to stay here and take care of our people here. And you sound like you have aliens taking over your studio.
Me?
Yeah. You have aliens taking over?
Yeah.
Does anybody else hear it?
Is it? I do have a fan in the AC.
Something's happening.
I don't know.
Really weird. It's kind of freaky.
I do have our closeout bumper up, but it's right now not up for our
Something's
exit.
happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it?
So take Skipper to, I'll finish up with my rant. There's always got to be a TC rant. I really appreciate everybody here tuning in, and look for us again in 2 weeks. I don't know when this Skipper and TC Israel debate's going to happen, but it'll be fun when it does. 2 weeks from now would be fine with me. I'm totally prepared. Mostly because I don't think Skipper understands my position. So, but I'm going to just drop that and tell him he's not allowed to respond right now. But I know that Skipper does have a closeout for us. So everybody who's tuned in tonight, I really appreciate you guys coming in for our premiere of our newest season. And look for us not every week, every 2 weeks. Yes, I saw your Blue Falcon. I'm ignoring it.
And hold on. Well, I can't. It does have a Falcon sign or sound with it. But hopefully you'll be able to hear that in the soundboard when we do the next one.
Chris, you know, I appreciate the offer to moderate. I don't know if Skipper and I need a moderator. We love each other, and when I say that, when we actually love each other too much to allow something like that
He's
to
going to
come
call me
between
a
us.
jackhole.
Well, you're a Marine. I don't need to say jackhole. So, TC, that's because your position involves black robes. I don't understand that, but most people, when I say black robes, I don't think the black robe regiment, I don't know if they understand. I'm not saying you don't, Eric, but the black robe regiment is not what everybody thinks it is. It's not Jesuits and it's not judges.
TC, you should consider going on Chris's show, Chatting with Sasquatch.
On Chris's Chatting with Sasquatch.
Yeah, he does his show on Rumble and Twitter, and I think he did add a YouTube channel. You can let us know, Chris.
Anytime that he would like to talk to me about coming on his show, he's more than happy to. He's more than welcome to. I'd be more than happy to talk to him. He can send me an email, mbrrpodcast@yahoo.com.
And Eric has his channel, KT7LTN. Eric is actually a chaplain. I don't know.
Well,
Eric
then he
normally
does
doesn't-
understand the Black Robe Regiment. So,
I see Jamie's in the house. Hey, Jamie, we're actually about ready to finish. Sorry you caught the end.
that's a story of Skipper's romantic life, by the way.
We actually, we need one thing this show definitely needs, and maybe not every week, but we do need a female veteran, because you and me, we're going to only bring dude opinions.
Dude energy.
Yeah, I think we do need to find a female veteran to come in here and tell us to both shut our mouths.
I bring big kielbasa energy to the show. And when I say big kielbasa,
folks.
When I say big kielbasa, I mean actually big kielbasa. I like big kielbasa.
Kielbasa is very good. I will say that with a little bit of sauerkraut.
On occasion. Shut up, guys, Jamie says.
Sausage party.
But no, Skipper, I'm really glad that we got this worked out, and we're ready to go for.
So, as of right now, tentatively, folks, this will be. We'll do this regularly every other Tuesday until we either really figure this out, or if we find a producer, or if Juan comes back and says he wants to produce again. We'd
love to have Juan back.
Yeah. Juan's dealing with some things that he's got to take care of, which, we wish him the best. He's always been a big supporter of us, and we will always be a big supporter of him.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody wants to hear my unadulterated, unmitigated, unfiltered, uncensored opinion on anything, you can certainly head over to my channel. Trust me, it will be unfiltered there. If you think I got fired up tonight, yes, I certainly would love to have more subscribers over there, and if you like what I do, I also have memberships now. So
we qualified for memberships, but I haven't set them up yet. Do you think we should for Veteran Nation?
Not unless everybody that gets a membership at Veteran Nation also gets a membership at MBRR Podcast. So
we might be able to do that. I was thinking about this. If everyone does a membership, I might send them a handmade paracord bracelet that I make.
Oh, I think it's great that you're getting remedial training.
Yeah, this is what they do with us. They put us in, for craft time.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been making these for a couple of years now, and it's a good way to sit and do something. And
crocheting at your age.
Yeah, this is male crocheting. That's absolutely what this is.
Skipper, thank you so much for getting this back up and running, and get us out of here.
All right. Well, I want to thank TC for being here and us being able to finally get back into doing the show again. We'll be doing this, like I said, every Tuesday at approximately 6 p.m. Every other Tuesday. That's the plan as of right now, unless things change. Everyone, please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below, and check out TC, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. We are both on X. As of right now, I am Real Vet Nation, but I'm thinking of changing the @ name. And TC is @Robe Regiment. And as usual, thank you all for being worth serving.